All right, fight fans, this weekend we had a ton of action. We had Ultimate Fighter 27 finale, UFC 226. A lot of stuff went on. We're going to give you guys our highs and our lows of this weekend, starting with Dan Tom.
There's a lot to choose from for both categories. For high, I'm going to go with kind of an underrated one. I don't know if he got quite enough credit. I mean, how can you? UFC 226 was so stacked, and he was also toward the bottom, but I was impressed with Dan Hooker. It was one of the more closely lined and competitive, contentious, if you will, fights on people who were on one side or the other. There was a lot to prove. Both guys are really important points of their career. Gilbert Durinho Burns, the jiu-jitsu champion, has been knocking people out. What can't he do now? He's a great athlete, but Dan Hooker came out and starched him. Not only that, he gave that intense post-fight interview, and the people from City Kickboxing in New Zealand should be proud. They are producing some really good fighters. Dan Hooker was my high.
And what was your low?
This one's a little different one. I felt like I couldn't come at any fighters or matchups or anything like that. It was just such a great weekend as a whole, the sum of the weekend, but just kind of a little weird little snippet. I did see the UFC drop their upcoming schedule, and I know we're in a transition period, and this is the last bit of Fox, and I should be used to this, but man, I had trouble digesting that we're going to have 10 fight cards in a 9-week stretch. Boy, I mean, I want to just talk about UFC 226, but we already have UFC Idaho to look forward to next week, and I really hope they find some type of balance here in the schedule.
It's a little overload. George, what is your high and your low?
Well, being that I'm a heavyweight, I'm going to stick with the heavyweights. And it's kind of low-hanging fruit, and I'm sure people are like, just get the goes. These are going to be obvious, because they are. But, man, a champ. We have a champ now. We have a light heavyweight champ who became the UFC's heavyweight champ in Daniel Cormier. It's rare. It doesn't happen often. It's happened 2 times only, where the champ is holding the belt simultaneous. 1 with Conor McGregor, and 2 now with Daniel Cormier. So I thought it was very historic. And I thought Dominic Cruz, I want to give a shout-out to him, really showed the fans and mentioned to the fans just how special that was. I loved his call of the fight along with Joe Rogan and John Anik. But still, what Cormier did was very historic. Congratulations to him. As far as my low, sticking with the heavyweights. Come on, guys. Lewis and Ngannou, look, they've given us all kinds of great highlight reel KOs. Awesome moments. I mean, these guys have collected bonuses because they are violent and brutal and monsters. But on Saturday, they just laid an egg. And both guys have already admitted so. So it's not like I'm really burying them or anything. But we got to tell it like it is. I mean, people were booing. The Mexican wave was going on. People were showing the lights from their phones. And so I'm sure it's a low moment for them. It was my low moment as well.
I want to go out on a high, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my low. My low was UFC 226. How does Uriah Hall not get a performance bonus? He went out, and on paper, he did everything Dana White asks from fighters. When you go on the Contender Series, what does he ask you to do? Uriah Hall did all of that, put it all out on the line, and he walked away with just his regular purse.
Yeah, hopefully they give him a discretionary. But what you're saying is you wanted him and Costa to share
it's
fight of the
the
night.
tango.
Yeah.
And he definitely deserves it. So that's my low. My high goes from the Tough 27 finale. If you're watching this, if you had a key eye, okay, here's what was going on. Alex Caceres is doing his walkout. Right before that, there was a little kid right at the end of where they walk out. And this kid, for just about every fight, was walking past people trying to get a high five, and he just couldn't get one. And he was about to leave when the guy that was sitting there told him, try one more time. And he scooted him over past him and said, try leaning over. So he kind of gave a look, and he said, all right. He leaned over. He had his hand like that. Alex Caceres comes out, wasn't even looking his direction, caught him at the end, jumped up, took his hat off, and slammed it on that kid's head. You should have seen that kid's face. He put that hat on, ran back to his family, was high-fiving left and right. Alex Caceres may not even know this happened. It's probably just a little incident where he put a hat on a kid's head, but he made that kid's day, and he made a lot of people's day, a lot of people's night that night, just watching that little kid celebrate. It was a really nice story from what happens here in the cage and throughout the weekend. That was my high of the weekend. So
that's a good one.
There you have it, guys. That's MMA Junkie Radio's team. Those are our highs and lows from this weekend.